When are we singing My Nines? Can I have your pencil? Where's your pencil? Give me a pencil. When are we singing My Nines?
Would the audience please rise for the presentation of colors? Color Guard, advance. Eagle Escort, advance. Scouts, Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Post colors. 2.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color Guard, retreat. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am John Franzik, Committee Chairperson of Troop and Crew 161. It is my privilege to welcome you to Our Lady of the Wayside Church. At this time, I will ask Deacon Peter Letourneau to give the invocation.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for this special day in the life of Alan, Jack, and Peter. Today we celebrate the efforts they have made over the years to advance in scouting. We think of all the merit badges they earned along the way, the oaths they learned, the character they developed, and their service to our community and fellow scouts. Little by little, month by month, and year by year, they were faithful, and today we celebrate their faithfulness and hard work. We ask you, Lord, to bless Alan, Jack, and Peter, and their families who supported and encouraged them. We ask your blessing to fall upon their fellow scouts, whose fellowship they enjoyed along the way. We thank you for the scout leaders who gave their time and energy to develop young men like Alan, Jack, and Peter. Bless them with the certainty that their work has influenced the course of many lives. We all benefit because of their sacrifices and leadership. And so, O God, we pray that you would bless this celebration as we celebrate with Alan, Jack, and Peter. Through Christ our Lord, amen.
This afternoon, we have the honor and pleasure of recognizing 3 candidates for the award of Eagle. These scouts have proven themselves worthy of scouting's highest honor, and who will join the more than 60 scouts from Troop 161 who have also earned the rank of Eagle Scout since 1967. The Eagle Scout rank is not earned by the timid or the undedicated, nor is it earned by the dispassionate. The rank of Eagle Scout is earned only by those who work hard, exhibit virtue, and have ignited the passion of scouting spirit in their soul. This afternoon, Alan, Jack, and Peter will join those few known as Eagle Scouts. As committee chairperson of Troop 161, I now declare this Eagle Scout Court of Honor called to order. At this time, we ask that all Eagle Scouts in the audience please stand so that they may be recognized. We would like to welcome some special guests today. First, Thomas Hayes, Mayor of the Village of Arlington Heights. Father Mark, who we have the privilege of not only being a priest here, but an Eagle Scout as well. And James Rafferty of the Northwest Suburban Detachment, number 80 of the Marine Corps League. Mr. Rafferty served in 1st Marine Aircraft Wing at MCAS Iwakuni, Japan during the Vietnam era. After release from active duty, he served 2 years on active reserve as an infantry squad leader with Hotel Company, 2nd Battalion, 24th Marines, and was honorably discharged in 1979. We welcome all of you and thank you for coming here this afternoon to help recognize the achievements of our Eagle Scouts. I now call upon Claire Franzik, Harry Heck, and Spencer North to provide an explanation of the Scout Law.
A scout is trustworthy. A scout's honor is to be trusted. If he were to violate his honor by telling a lie, or by cheating, or by not doing exactly a given task, when trusted on his honor, he may be directed to hand over his scout badge.
A scout is loyal. He is loyal to all whom loyalty is due, his scout leader, his home, and parents and country.
A scout is helpful. He must be prepared at any time to save a life, help injured persons, and share the home duties. He must do at least one good turn to somebody every day.
A scout is friendly. He is a friend to all and a brother to every other scout.
A scout is courteous. He is polite to all, especially to women, children, old people, and the weak and helpless. He must not take pay for being helpful or courteous.
A scout is kind. He is a friend to animals. He will not kill or nor hurt any living creature needlessly, but will strive to save and protect all harmless life.
A scout is obedient. He obeys his parents, scoutmaster, patrol leader, and all other duly constituted authorities.
A scout is cheerful. He smiles whenever he can. His obedience to orders is prompt and cheery. He never shirks nor grumbles at hardships.
A scout is thrifty. He works faithfully to pay his own way and saves for the future. He protects and conserves natural resources. He is generous to those in need, helpful to worthy objects, and carefully uses time and property.
A scout is brave. He has the courage to face danger in spite of fear and to stand up for the right against the coaxing of friends or the jeers or threats of enemies, and defeat does not down him.
A scout is clean. He keeps clean in body and thought, stands for clean speech, clean sport, clean habits, and travels with a clean crowd.
A scout is reverent. He is reverent towards God. He is faithful to his religious duties and respects the convictions of others in matters of custom and religion.
I now introduce Eagle Scout Robert Heck and Eagle Scout Philip Heck to present the Trail to Eagle.
We are here this afternoon to honor Ellen, Jack, and Peter as they become Eagle Scouts. As we do so, it's important to reflect on what it means to be an Eagle Scout. In the 1938 Handbook for Scoutmasters, it put it this way: the badges which accompany his advancement and which a scout wears on his uniform are not to show that he has passed certain tests. There should be no past tense implied. On the contrary, each badge cries out, "I can, right now, and right here." So what have these requirements taught him? Who is the Eagle Scout? First and foremost, of course, he is an outdoorsman. He knows how to camp, swim, hike, use tools, build a fire, use a camp stove, and find his way with a map and compass. He spent at least 20 days and nights camping out in a tent that he pitched in a site that he selected. Many of those times, he planned his own menu and cooked his own food. The Eagle Scout is comfortable with nature. He can identify local animals and plants, including poisonous plants. He understands the causes of water, land, and air pollution and has developed a project to solve an environmental problem.
He embodies the Scout motto, "Be prepared." He knows how to treat fractures, head injuries, hypothermia, convulsions, frostbite, burns, abdominal pain, muscle cramps, even knocked out teeth. He knows what to do in case of fire, explosion, desert emergency, motor vehicle accident, mountain accident, food poisoning, gas leak, earthquake, flood, tornado, hurricane, and avalanche.
The Eagle Scout is a good citizen. He's been to a city meeting and knows how the city government is organized. He knows who his U.S. senators and representatives are and has written a letter to one of them about a national issue. He's read the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. He knows how to manage his money and understands the risks and benefits of putting into money into savings bonds, mutual funds, common stock, and real estate. He has set financial goals and worked towards achieving those goals.
The Eagle Scout has also set and worked toward fitness goals. He's competed against himself in tests of aerobic endurance, flexibility, and muscular strength. He knows what it means to be physically, mentally, and socially fit. He's a good family member. He knows what things are important to the members of his family and has talked to his family about finances, drug abuse, and growing up.
All of these things he did in order to earn the merit badges required for Eagle. Beyond those, he earned 9 elective merit badges, which introduced him to such subjects as canoeing, metalwork, music, aviation, climbing, and salesmanship. So what is an Eagle Scout? Well, to quote that old handbook for Scoutmasters again, he is a young man who is qualified to help others as well as take care of himself. His badge is not a decoration, but rather a symbol of knowledge and ability. And now I would like to introduce Scoutmaster Martin Bauer to administer the Eagle Scout oath.
Thank you, Robert. Whoa. I'm going to go off script here for just a second. And I'm going to say what an absolute honor it is for me to stand here and to be able to witness these 3 young men achieve the rank of Eagle. I've been at this for quite a number of years, and these are not the first Scouts that I have worked with. But Jack in particular represents the class of Scouts that I have worked with ever since he was a tiny little tiger cub. First grade, a long time ago, at some point he said that my voice is booming. Now he's the booming one, the blooming one. Similarly, I remember coming back from camp out and having Peter run up to me as he was tiny little lad, grab my leg, and I'm like, who's this? Look at him now. And Alan in the middle. Both Peter and Alan joined a little bit later. Alan's worked his way into scouting, but ultimately probably has been the most reliable scout, has been on every camp out, every outing, just a fantastic scout. Tim here is going to head off to Camp Napawan right after this ceremony to serve as a counselor there. Alan's dad and I were at Camp Napawan together. I wish Ray was here. I think we all do. Ray too was booming, and I want to say the thunder that we heard was his hello. So again, it is an absolute honor to welcome the 3 of you to the rank of Eagle. And with that, I can go back on script. Will the Eagle Scout candidates please stand? And will all Eagle Scouts present please stand for the reading of the Eagle Scout oath? Alan, Jack, and Peter, please give the Scout sign and repeat the Eagle Scout oath after me. I reaffirm my allegiance to the 3 promises of the Scout oath. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to make my training and example, my rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting and for better citizenship in my troop, in my community, and in my contact with other people. To this, I pledge my secret honor. The Eagle Scouts in the audience may be seated.
Will the parents of the Eagle candidates please come forward? No one will ever know the unnumbered acts of self-sacrifice and helpfulness from these young men's parents which have helped lead us to this day. As a symbol of what their parents made possible, the court now asks Alan, Jack, and Peter to present their parents with a miniature eagle pin. Got it. Alan North, by the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege to pronounce you an Eagle Scout, and it is with distinct honor and pleasure that I present you with the Eagle Scout Award, which I will ask your mother to pin over your heart. Jack Franzik, by the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege to pronounce you an Eagle Scout, and it is with distinct honor and pleasure that I present you with the Eagle Scout Award, which I'll ask your mother to pin over your heart. Peter Hack, by the authority vested in me by the National Court of Honor of the Boy Scouts of America, it is my privilege to pronounce you an Eagle Scout, and it is with distinct honor and pleasure that I present you with the Eagle Scout Award, which I will ask your mother to pin over your heart. Alan, Jack, and Peter, on behalf of the Scouts, Scoutmaster, Assistant Scoutmaster, and committee members of Troop 161, it is my pleasure to present to you the Eagle Scout neckerchief and neckerchief slide.
Let's assume it's on. Alan, Jack, and Peter, I have the honor of giving you the Eagle Scout charge on this occasion of your elevation to the highest rank of scouting. The Boy Scouts of all nations constitute one of the most wholesome and significant movements in the world's history, and you have been counted worthy of the highest rank in its membership. All who know you rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as you well know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are a marked man. Your position, as you well know, is one of honor and responsibility. And I said that already. As an Eagle Scout, you have assumed a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to country, to fellow Scouts, and to mankind in general. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself and to your brother Scouts. When you fall, you bring down the good name of all true and worthy Scouts. Your responsibility goes beyond your fellow Scouts to your country and to God. America has many good things to give you and your children after you. But these things depend, for the most part, on the character and leadership abilities of her citizens. You are to help her in all that she needs most. She has a great past. You are here to make her future even greater. I charge you to undertake your citizenship with a solemn dedication. Be a leader, but lead only towards the best. Lift up every task you do, every office you hold to the highest level of service to God and your fellow men. So live and serve that those who know you will be inspired to the finest living. I charge you to be among those who dedicate their skills and abilities to the common good. Build America on the solid foundation of clean living, honest work, unselfish citizenship, and the reverence to God. And whatever others may do, you will leave behind a record of which every Scout may be proud. You may be seated. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Matthew Hack, who just sat down. Matt is an assistant scoutmaster and a family friend to Alan North, and he's here to speak on behalf of Alan.
First, thank you, Alan, for giving me an opportunity to say a few words about our scouting experience and watching you develop into a fine example of what an Eagle Scout should be. I've had the benefit of watching Alan mature through the scouting ranks, as well as being a frequent visitor to our home. He would often hang out with my boys playing Dungeons and Dragons or stopping over to kill some time and have a bite to eat in between band practice or tech crew. Speaking of a bite to eat, you may notice that there's a general theme that runs through there around food, which I guess at the Heck household we always have so much food that seems appropriate. But my own cooking knowledge all came, what little there is, from scouting. And I gotta say, Alan picked up quite a bit more cooking skills than I ever could. He seems to be pretty good in the kitchen. I only concentrated on the Dutch oven desserts, and that was really all I needed to focus on. So I've had some time to observe Alan over the past 8 years. Early on, he impressed me as being very polite and organized. He always had his scout book ready and would seek me out at the end of a scout meeting or an outing to make sure he could get signed off on whatever requirements we were working on. He picked up many skills along the way. To earn the Eagle rank, I believe there's 21 badges that he must be earned. And I really like the way they put him across the sash, really displaying them as a symbol of all of that hard work. Though I gotta admit, when I look at the badges on the sash, what I'm really looking to see is, did they put them on the inside so you have to turn the sash inside out before you put it on? Isn't that right, Peter? Though I do think he probably learned that from Philip. And it just goes to show you can earn the sewing badge, but it doesn't mean you necessarily know which way is up. The skills represented by the badges are important, but the real fun in the journey is figuring out and accomplishing them on your own, and then having your scout leaders, regardless of what skill you actually just earned, ask you if you remember how to tie your knots. Whenever we leaders needed to kill some time, we would whip out the question, Alan, show me a bowline. Alan, show me a taut line hitch. Alan, tie these two pencils together. Now do it with a square lashing. One of my favorite games that we would have in our scout meetings, we'd lay out these two sets of ropes representing the banks of a river, put them fairly wide apart. On one side, we'd set out these mouse traps, and then we'd hand the boys some poles and say, what you need to do is lash those poles together, make them long enough and strong enough that you can reach across, all the way across the river, and set off those mouse traps. As I recall, Alan actually got pretty good at it, and it was a bit of a challenge. But the thing that kind of concerns me most is nobody ever asked us, why are we trying to catch mice on the other side of the river? We did have some great outings, learning signal flags and hammering spikes at the Railroad Museum, walking on the iced river at Starved Rock, biking through some rather treacherous tree-laden trails, visiting the museums, rock climbing in a silo, and I even recall Alan learning the Army crawl at our Marseilles Jamboree. One thing above all others Alan liked to show off is his cooking skills. And I vividly remember at one rainy morning in Devil's Lake, which was kind of unusual for me to actually go on a rainy outing. Most all of my outings were very sunny. For some reason, I tended to miss those where they forecast rain, snow, or sleet. I'm not sure why, we'll just call it karma. But anyhow, Alan was cooking there in the rain. We had our rain fly over. He's cooking on the edge of it, doing some pancakes for us for the morning breakfast. The tarp at the top of the canopy started to bow in a little bit from the rain pulling up. Well, we've got some quite dedicated scouts who are very interested in keeping our equipment well kept, trying to impress their scout leaders. So they push up on the top of the tent to get rid of all that rain. Well, you can guess where it all went and who nearly got soaked while he was cooking there. Though I got to say, the pancakes turned out really, really good. Though I do think Alan would have preferred cooking crepes because he was always trying to refine our palates a little bit. The journey to Eagle is one few accomplish. It's a test of your willingness to go above and beyond the norm and put in considerable effort. It teaches skills and values that make you a better person and able to improve your life and the lives of those around you. Looking back, I don't think Alan could have chosen to skip out on his scouting experience, even if he wanted to. You see, his dad, Ray, was a very big on scouting. He embodied what a true scout represents. His enthusiasm for scouting was rather contagious. It was like a force of nature, kind of swept you up in his plans. If he said, let's go hike to the top of that hill, you'd find us all trudging up to the summit, just kind of overjoyed at the workout. I often found myself motivated just by his presence. He was truly, truly a great scout. Alan, you have a few things in common with your father. Your excellent singing voice. I want to congratulate you on making IMLEA District 7 Vocal Concert Choir. Your love of astronomy, which that also reminds me of one of my first camping experiences with your dad. We set up in a little forested area covered in the trees, got the camp all set up, and when it grew completely dark, he said, let's go on a hike, and he took us out rather long distance out of the woods into this open field where you had a pure view of the sky. And he started to point out all the constellations, taught us how to find the North Star, asked us to start looking out for shooting stars, though as I recall, mostly what we pointed to, he told us were satellites. But it was one of the funnest campouts that I ever had. It was a joy to camp with. And now you add Eagle Scout to that list. Your dad was proud to be an Eagle Scout and all it stood for. He embodied the Scout oath and law. He was truly trustworthy, helpful, and a cheerful friend. He lived his life following the primary tenets of Scouting, and in doing so, brought joy to those around him. I know your dad is mighty proud that you have joined him in the rank of Eagle, as am I. So I challenge you to continue to do what you do best, set a goal, and organize a steady, focused effort till you reach it. Do it as an Eagle Scout, upholding the Scout law, doing good wherever you can, and making a positive difference in the world. We're all pulling for you.
Thank you, Matt. Let me now introduce Bert Austin, Jack's grandfather, to speak on behalf of Jack.
I was thinking about what to say here and thinking about Jack and his growing up. Also about the Scouts and my experience in Scouting. I was reminded of the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. I'm honored to be asked to introduce to you my grandson, Jack. is the newest Eagle of Troop 161. Jack started his scouting career as a Tiger Cub over 12 years ago. He progressed to Weeblo Scout, earning the Arrow of Light. Before crossing over to your troop, and then at that time he worked his way up through the ranks from Tenderfoot to Eagle, earning 26 merit badges and a Bronze Palm. Jack is a Brotherhood member of the Order of the Arrow. His community service included conservation projects and overnight immersion with the homeless to help them gain access to food and clothing and shelter, mentoring younger scouts and fellow students, and volunteering here at Our Lady of the Wayside. For his Eagle project, he created a 200 square foot pollinator garden for the Arlington Heights Park District. Jack's scouting activities included high adventure trips, Philmont Scout Ranch, Boundary Waters Canoe Area, and the Florida National High Adventure Sea Base. His perseverance was tested first in learning to swim, and later in hiking at Philmont and paddling in inclement weather in the Boundary Waters. As a toddler, Jack wasn't satisfied with playing with a toy. He would try to take it apart and figure out how things worked. He spent many hours building with Lego blocks, and later he was introduced to hockey and played for the Renegades. He also took up fishing with Grandpa Franzik. In high school, Jack was dedicated to his studies and helping other students. He took up tennis, playing on the St. Viator tennis team, was a member of the Scholastic Bowl team. He worked at the St. Viator's Theater technical stage crew, building sets, managing backstage operations, lighting, and sound. He was a founding member of the St. Viator Coding Club and a mentor to students in computer science. His interest in computer and video games and their themes inspired his desire to design them and write the stories. His interest and skill have earned him a scholarship at Rochester Institute of Technology in their Combined Accelerated Pathways program for both a bachelor and master's degree. Jack is a graduate of St. Viator High School class of 2021 with highest honors with STEM distinction, an Illinois State Scholar, a member of the National Honor Society, Father Louis Gerb's Scholar, and a recipient of the Outstanding Achievement Award in Theater. The aims of Scouting are to build character, to foster citizenship, and to develop fitness. Jack has been successful in all three areas. Congratulations, Jack Franzik.
And finally, I would like to introduce Philip Heck, brother of Peter Heck, to speak on behalf of Peter.
All right, I just want to say that Peter made a huge mistake giving me the opportunity to speak. So we'll see how this goes. I was originally going to improv this because my mom was telling me I definitely should because Robert can do it. But I wanted to give Peter something a little more heartfelt, a little more effort into it. So instead I wrote a speech about an hour before the ceremony began. So here we go. I really wish Peter hadn't chosen me to be the one to speak for him today, because other people would have had loads of reasons to, say why he represents the tenets of the Scout Oath, the Scout Law, have several anecdotes as evidence of his hardworking and persevering attitude, and they may even have shed a tear or two, knowing that they won't have him close by anymore as he goes off onto bigger and better things. But here I am, stuck with the task of telling you all about Peter and how he earned the rank of Eagle, when most of my life I found him to be absolutely insufferable. See, it's easy for everyone in the audience to say what a great kid he was growing up when you weren't the ones living with him, sharing a bedroom, sharing a bathroom, sharing clothes, sometimes the accidental toothbrush when it wasn't put in the right spot. Having known Peter his entire life and living alongside him makes me the most accurate source as to why Peter is just so hard to live with. For starters, he is incredibly stubborn. If there is something Peter wants or has to do, he will do it his way, and that is the end of it. No debate, no nothing, just his way or the highway. And if you tell him that he can't do something, he'll manage to get it done even faster than before just to prove you wrong. To outsiders, this might have been looked at as like his ability to work hard, overcome impossible obstacles to achieve success. But it's a pain when you're trying to tell him that he is wrong, that no, you just can't rip out your baby teeth with your bare hands, and then he goes and rips out 2 just to prove you wrong. Or he'll refuse to believe me when I tell him that gullible is written on the ceiling, and he will in fact close his eyes and refuse to listen until I eventually give up and go away. Obviously, it's a sign that he was going to be a problem child from the start. What's worse is his need to do what is right, which is often at my own detriment. Teachers would say he follows the rules and stands up for his peers and will do what he's supposed to without being asked. But can you imagine actually wanting to read the rules of Monopoly when I suggest that as the banker, I'm allowed to borrow as much money as I want? And then he would have the audacity to call me a cheater. He couldn't even let that little injustice slide, which is why I will never do anything with Peter if I know he can catch me cheating. Now, getting on to his Eagle project, was I surprised when Peter said he was going to start working to obtain his Eagle rank? I have to say I wasn't really, because he already had a pretty great, amazing, fantastic older brother who already earned the rank of Eagle, and I guess Robert as well. So, of course, we all knew he would go for it. However, he said he would get everything done with more than a week before his 18th birthday. That's a Heck family tradition. We wait till the last minute. With me, about 24 hours before. With Robert, I believe it was the day of. And as we, started to go on, we realized that it's another tradition to give our mom as many gray hairs as possible, so that way she has a way to remember her children by. All the stress caused by these last-minute Eagle Scout projects. But Peter said no, I'll do it sooner, and he'll be Mom's favorite. At which point, I had to laugh, because we all know that Mom doesn't have a favorite child. Our dad, on the other hand, well, I still didn't think he would get a project around and done any time before his last month as a 17-year-old. And just like that, he got straight to work, found a project idea, got it approved, got everything organized and put together, and just did it. Eagle project done, easy, just like that, with just under a year before his 18th birthday. Not a troop record, but he was content to have done it faster than Robert and I. And despite how annoying and bothersome Peter can be, I was impressed. He accomplishes a lot without needing to display much effort, and he'll just pick up a new skill or hobby and put the same amount of work into it as he does everything else. One day I'll be sitting there, Peter says, I'm gonna go learn guitar. And for a couple months, it sounds like he's more murdering the guitar than playing it, but then it begins to sound like actual music, and after a year, he becomes pretty great. And then he said, oh, for marching band, I'm learning how to play the xylophone, when all his life he's only ever played string instruments. And wouldn't you know it, he's performing solos and much of the stuff the band has to do. And then he tells me, oh, I'm playing in the pit for the musical at the high school. And I'm like, oh, what instrument are you playing? He's like, oh, piano. When did you have time to learn piano? I never heard you play piano at home. He's like, oh, I just picked it up. And so it makes him a great partner in crime with all the hard work he can put into stuff just like that, when you can convince him to go along with your shenanigans. such as building potato cannons, making alcohol in your basement, all sorts of other things I won't mention here. You know that when Peter is put into a project, it will get done and it will exceed your expectations as long as you can put up with it. So I'm glad he's going off to college at the end of the summer. I know that he will succeed in whatever task he sets himself out to accomplish, and that he will rise to be a great leader in whatever community is willing to put up with him. At the end of the day, I can't think of anyone I would have rather had by my side all these years. I hope he continues to be just as insufferable to other people as he was to me.
Thank you, Mr. Heck, Mr. Austin, and Mr. Heck. It is with great honor that I now introduce Troop 161's newest Eagle Scouts to address you, Alan North, Jack Franzik, and Peter Heck. Alan?
So, all of this has just been wild. These two, fantastic people. I wish I could have spent even longer doing everything that I got to do with them. So, I think my time at Scouts, fantastic. I could not have asked for a better troop to help me get to where I am today than Troop 161. The camping trips that we got to go on, all of our Marseilles trips, all of the high adventure trips that we've planned over the years, oh my gosh, I would not ask for anything better. The opportunities that we've been given, amazing. The meetings that we had over at Troop 161, every single time I could not find myself not leaving without finding something new that I learned. Be it knot tying, maybe I learned a new knot that I didn't know before. Maybe it was something out in nature, like I learned to identify a new type of tree or a new type of flower. And then on top of all of that, the leaders, Mr. Bauer, Mr. Franzik, Tim Bauer over there, I could not ask for better companions at my side, helping me get to where I am today. Over the years, I've definitely learned quite a bit between first aid, between being able to help out throughout my school even, and I was able to lead teams that I was not even expecting to get to where I am today. For a marching band, I led the mellophone section. Didn't think I was going to get to do that. And through it all, I was cherishing memories. As Mr. Heck said, there was a couple of times that we got to go out in Napawan, wander around in the fields, look up at the stars. Some of the best memories I've ever made have been made at Napawan. I went 7 years maybe? I've lost count at this point. On top of that, I think my favorite trip that I've ever gone on was Sea Base, which is where my dad wanted me to go when I was younger. He had pushed me to really get to where I was because he experienced the Florida trip, and it was his favorite experience. He wasn't able to make it to that trip, but every step of the way I could feel his presence sitting at my side, everything that I did, be it that going snorkeling, going off in canoes, even just hiking out on the deserted islands that were around. And I don't think I could have gotten to where I was today without him motivating me at the start, pushing me through up until the day that he passed. I think what he put forward helped me continue on through scouting, and I think it's why I really wanted to stick with it. You know, I always looked up to where he was. I always held him very high, and that's why I very pushed myself to get to where I am right now. I didn't really have a whole lot super planned to talk about, so I want to first thank my mom and my family. They supported me throughout all of the years of scouting, and I couldn't have asked for anything better from them. I want to thank Mr. McKenna, who's sitting in the back, for giving me my Eagle Scout project. Definitely not the best weather to do it in, but we still got it done. Building that wall was definitely a challenge. I want to thank Mr. Heck and Robert for helping me push through to get my Eagle, giving me all of the resources that they had available to them, and the rest of the Hecks to really give me a space that I could work. I don't think I could have gotten to where I am without you guys. You guys are like my second family. And I again want to thank Troop 161. Without them, I would not be where I am. I would not have really a troop that I could have called my own. A troop that I can say, this is where I did these activities. And with that, I want to thank all of you for being here, and have a nice night.
So this has been weird this whole time. Having my mom put on my neckerchief again reminded me kind of the very first time at the scout meeting when she also put it on for me. And I guess that just kind of partially goes to show you that I still have no idea how to put this thing on at all. But I think the best way to explain scouting to you is to tell you a story. But this story will not work if you don't know who Harry is, so could you please identify yourself? Hi, thanks. So let's just say that we were on Philmont, which I was already concerned about because hiking was never my favorite activity. And to be honest, the first day didn't help alleviate anything because the first person we met, that I remember at least, was a very grizzled old man who was wearing barely any clothing, covered head to toe in mud. His backpack was falling apart and told us he just came back from his 40-day hike and was getting ready to go out again in 2 days. So I was a little concerned that that's what was going to happen to us. So when Harry was navigating and suggested that he had found a shortcut that would cut off at least 3 miles, I was very excited. We did not cut off 3 miles. In fact, I believe we cut off -3 miles. That was an extra long day. We were in the middle of this 12-day hiking trip, and we've been training to carry these backpacks the whole time, which I will tell you, carrying a backpack full of dumbbells through the mall up and down the escalators is not at all like going up and down a mountain. The escalator, I'm standing there, going up. They don't have those in the middle of the desert, which is very disappointing. I think somebody should fix that. Now, everything is constantly hot. It's the desert. But you think, it'll be fine. They have to give us really good food to make it through this whole thing. Absolutely not. Nope, not at all. So everything comes in these tiny little astronaut packages, and the one I remember the most was the meal that was, here's your lunch. It is a package of ham cubes that I'm not sure were even ham, but that's not important. At the time I was hungry enough to eat whatever, and some saltines, which Tim loved the ham cubes greatly, which was a little concerning, but I understood the hunger. So I traded with him for the Gatorade powder because the water there tastes horrific. It's the worst. And this stuff is like gold, and I'm realizing I can trade ham cubes in order to have this free thing that's basically replaced money in the middle of nowhere. So I did that, but if I'm being honest, was that it was not worth it, because at a certain point you just start drinking that water because you need the water. And had it also not been for Robert taking like 3 people's packs worth of supplies, I also don't think we would have made it, because a lot of us kept dumping things off and Robert kept saying, I got it, and taking it on with even more clips, which is concerning in its own right. I don't know how he even made it through any of that, because I'm tired after just walking around my own house after a few hours, but he's been carrying hundreds of pounds. I guess what I'm saying is every day came with a new challenge, much in the same way that scouting every day presented a new challenge. And I think one of the biggest challenges was, as Alan said, learning the new knots. Because when we were learning new knots, it would tell us to use an old knot we were supposed to know. I have no idea how to do any of those knots anymore, nor did I know any during that time, so I would have to relearn the entirety of the Boy Scout handbook full of knots every single time we needed to do something. And honestly, I think a lot of this wouldn't have been possible without a lot of the really great people here. I mean, my fellow scouts, but especially the leaders and parents. I can tell you that as much as I might have been a good scout, I was really, really bad at being a great son following these campouts, because my mother would come home to me dumping the entire bag of disgustingly smelly clothes in the middle of her living room, which probably wasn't her favorite part, but at least she got to see me again, I guess. Although I have to say, I think probably me being gone for the weekend was a little better. I wouldn't have been able to get through Philmont or any of my scouting career without the help of everybody here. I think when I first came in, I was constantly saying, why am I doing this? This is dumb. I'm a big boy now. Yes, that's what everybody says when they're in like 6th or 7th grade, thinking you're super cool, you're in middle school now. My dad said, nope, you're gonna do this. So I did. And I have to say that he was right. I should do it. It was one of the best experiences I've had. I mean, if not for this, I don't think I would have met so many amazing people or been able to just have these kinds of once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Even if the only thing that goes on that stayed the same the whole time was that every single campout we would have pancakes for breakfast. I think the problem is that everybody believes there are only 2 constants in life, death and taxes. There are 4: death, taxes, pancake breakfast on the campout, and Harry finding some way to get injured. I mean, really, I don't understand. We could be in the middle of a grassy field where there is nothing in sight, and Harry would somehow find, like, a rake lying in the middle of it and smack himself in the face. Which, I will have to say, did help a lot with learning first aid, because when you every time have to be healing somebody of some injury, you learn really quick what's good and what's not good to do. I do want to say, especially though, thank you to each of the leaders. Thank you to Mr. Bauer for putting up with me for the past 12, 13 years from the quiet little kindergartner. That's how I remember it. We were probably the most annoying children on earth at that point in time, and I couldn't blame him if he wanted to quit. Same thing with my dad. I don't know why. He already had to put up with me every single day at home and then decided to come here and deal with me, especially as when I was younger in Cub Scouts, because let's be honest, from kindergarten to like 3rd grade, none of those kids are fun to be around, especially when you just got us out of school and have decided we're going to sit down and learn. That doesn't work for the teachers. How is that going to work when it's your parents telling you that? I mean, really. But also, and then thank you to Mr. Heck for helping us have all of these great campouts. I mean, without you, I don't think we would have ever found any of the camping supplies. You kept it all in. And also the giant van that allowed us to all pack in together. and drive up. I don't know why you kept volunteering to drive with so many children in your back seat. I guess your big family probably prepared you for that one, but I gotta say, even I think we were annoying in the back seat of that car, screaming the whole time. But this whole thing has been amazing, and with everybody just helping out, all of the people I've met, the scouts who have moved on to new things, but they played a significant part in leading us. Each of the Eagle Scouts here has been a patrol leader or a senior patrol leader for me at some point. And I also just want to say thank you to everybody who's here today, because honestly, it's not just the leaders, it's not just the parents, it's everybody who's ever supported any of us. And I think without the support of the whole community, we wouldn't have made it to where we are. And I hope that, this has been... I hope that I can take everything I've learned from everybody, because I think a small piece of me is made up of a small piece of every single other person here. And I hope that from now on we can continue, even if it's not through scouting, to just have the wonderful, amazing people we have here in a community together. And this is getting awkward now, so I'm just going to stop.
So, yep, that's my brother. So I figured, since Philip actually wrote a speech for this, I figured I wouldn't. So there's that. So Boy Scouts has taught me a lot of valuable lessons, between the lessons in leadership, lessons in just general wilderness survival, and just how to be a good person in society. And I will certainly take all of those experiences with me. I've already been able to branch out and use these skills in everyday life. In high school, I was often a leader amongst my classmates, and I would be a section leader for various music groups, and I would just help out in general, and I would always make sure that I'm there helping out whoever I can. And a lot of my teachers would often turn to me, as they did with all my other siblings, and they would turn to all of us in looking for help. And if it weren't for Boy Scouts, I don't think I would have been able to do as much as I did. We certainly had a lot of experiences between falling in frozen rivers. It was mostly Harry. And, between also just doing these rigorous hikes, Philmont, definitely one of my favorite campouts that I ever did at High Adventure Camp. It's a lot of fun being able to be there with all of my siblings and my dad. First time we were able to do a high adventure as a whole family. And it was a lot of fun. A little bit of a struggle being in, a summer of 8th grade, but I ended up really enjoying it, and that country out there is just wonderful. And those are the experiences I always look for in camping and being part of Boy Scouts. Sea base was a lot of fun because we got to do snorkeling. I got to be there with Harry and my dad. Was able to have a lot of fun all together, and it felt more like a vacation than Philmont. A little bit less walking, a little bit more getting to go and swim and snorkel and check out the coral reefs. Whole lot of fun. And Boundary Waters was a lot of, it was a good arm workout. We canoed all over just to find the perfect spot to set up camp for a few days before we canoed back. And we got to experience some wonderful wilderness. It was a whole lot of fun. And all these experiences, they teach me a lot of skills, but the biggest thing that I take away from it is
all the friends that I was able to have with me, and all the memories I'll have of them. And it's certainly something that will live with me as I move on to bigger and better things. And all these skills I will take with me and utilize in everyday life. So thank you to everybody who really helped with that, Mr. Bauer, Mr. Franzik, Mr. Dad, everybody who really helped. And I couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce Mayor Hayes of Arlington Heights.
Well, thanks for the invitation to join Troop 161 again here in the village of Arlington Heights on this Saturday afternoon. It's been a very difficult 15 months for all of us in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to just personally thank all of you for helping us weather the storm. It's been a very difficult challenge for us as village leaders to try to get everybody to work together to face all the challenges that we had to experience over these number of months. But we've now, I think, reached the other side. There's very bright light at the end of the tunnel. We're in phase 5. I know all of you have probably enjoyed a lot of things that we haven't enjoyed in the last 15 months. I went to the movies last night, went to Walker Brothers for pancakes this morning, went to my grandson's baseball game right before this, and then am celebrating this very special event this afternoon here with all of you without masks, or at least mask optional. And so I just wanted to personally thank you on behalf of all the village board and all the residents that we represent for your help in getting us through to the other side of this COVID-19 pandemic. This is really my first Eagle Scout Court of Honor in about 15 months. I was attending, I think, 1 or 2 every month for a number of years, and so my schedule really changed when the governor had us stay at home. There was some good things that came out of the pandemic. We all learned how to attend meetings by Zoom, cut down on travel. Arlington al fresco in downtown Arlington Heights was a result of our pandemic and our financial or pandemic relief efforts on behalf of our downtown businesses. And one of the best things that came out of the pandemic was because my calendar freed up so much, my backyard has looked better than it has in the last 30 months, 30 years that I've been on the village board. And so my wife is not really looking forward to me getting back to a full schedule of mayoral events, but I'm very happy because these are the best part of my job, when I get to attend events like this and celebrate with these very fine young men. We've had to make some very difficult decisions over the past 15 months, and I just want to tell Alan, Jack, and Peter that in your young lives and when you do become adults out into whatever community you do join, hopefully it's Arlington Heights, but you will have to make decisions. And one of the things that I've learned over the past 15 months is that you do have to compromise, but you're not always going to have to please, you're not always going to be able to please everybody. And you have to make decisions that you think are the right decisions that are in the best interest of the people that you are serving. And so I would just challenge Alan, Jack, and Peter in that regard. I know they're going to do a great job in whatever community that they end up in. But I'm here to present citizenship pins to these very fine young men. And Jack kind of stole my thunder. I wanted to not only congratulate these 3 young men, but also congratulate everyone who participated in one way or another to getting them to this point in their Eagle journey. As Jack said, there was many people that contributed in one way or another. Their immediate families, their extended families, their friends, their neighbors, their mentors, their leaders, and really the community at large contributed in one way or another to help Alan, Jack, and Peter achieve this very great honor here this afternoon. And so I am here to present these citizenship pins to them, not only for the achievements that they've achieved in their young lives so far, but really as a challenge to them to continue to lead a lifetime of selfless service for the benefit of others in whatever they say and do. So I would like to step down now and present these citizenship pins to Alan, Jack, and Peter.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. On behalf of the Eagle Scouts, their parents, as well as Boy Scout Troop 161, all are invited to attend a reception in the gathering place after this ceremony, where Mr. Rafferty will present K-bars and certificates to our new Eagle Scouts. I now call upon Deacon Peter Letourneau to give the benediction.
O God, we have heard today about character, persistence, courage, loyalty, cheerfulness, service, setting an example, protecting the weak and the helpless. Lord, we admire these qualities and we pray that they will serve Alan, Jack, and Peter well into their future. We know, Lord, that being an Eagle Scout is a lifelong responsibility. And we pray not only that Alan, Jack, and Peter would exemplify these qualities, but we ask that they might influence others to do the same. Now, dismiss us with your blessing. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I'm going to go a little off script here too, since Mr. Bauer went a little off script. Just quickly, I want to thank all the parents, family, friends for being here today and for a great 12 plus years of the scouting experience. I want to say a special thank you to all the scouts and the troop who are out there. It was, sometimes I would use language unbecoming of a scout under my breath when dealing with you guys for 12 years, but I would do it all over again in a heartbeat if I had the chance. And it's been a real honor to see all the Eagle Scouts over the years and to work with all of you. And before we close the ceremony, I do feel it's appropriate to let the Heck family indulge in one of their favorite traditions. Who is this guy? That's my brother! Thank you. And with that, I now declare this Eagle Scout of Honor be adjourned.
If the color guard could come up, then. Will the audience please rise? Color guard, advance. Scouts, salute. Two, Scouts dismissed.